Hi everyone. This is our introduction to week 2 here. I just wanted to show you some Excel tips for your Excel assignment and talk about week 2 homework items. So for week 2 in this course, we have, if you go to week 2 in the course, we will be having week 2 homework, which will include reading chapter 2 in your textbook and going through the PowerPoint. And I'm also planning on doing a PowerPoint presentation video one that you can, I suggest you look through as well, and I'll highlight the important parts there. Um, Also, there's a chapter 2 discussion that you'll need to go to as well, and you'll see it here. There's a discussion question there. You'll need one post to get credit this week, so please feel free to comment on other posts as well, but you do need one post answering the question. Also, there's chapter 2 matching quiz and all the questions for review at the end of the chapter 2. And then finally, different from last week, we have an Excel template to complete a couple of practice problems. And that's what I'm going to concentrate on looking at now, just to make sure everybody gets started on the Excel assignment okay. So the Excel assignment, there's an Excel template in your week 2 items, and you will complete your assignment there using that template. And then there's the Dropbox down here. When you're done with the assignment, you can upload it to that Dropbox. So I'm going to go ahead and open the Chapter 2 Excel template. And you will want to use the template. So when you open the template, you get to this screen here. You do want to go ahead and download the template. And you will need, the template is in Excel. So I believe you will have to be on a computer either with Excel or something that can open Excel type documents. If you're familiar with Google Sheets, you can maybe upload this up into Google Sheets. But you will want to use this template because this template has some really handy features in it. Talk to me if for some reason you're having trouble with the Excel template. But I'd like you to use these templates. And so you will be doing for chapter 2, exercise 2-3A, 2-4A, 2-18A, and 2-20A. And so those problems are in your text. And so we'll look at problem 2-3A first. And you'll see here's the template. I suggest going up to File, Save As, and saving it with a different name other than the template. That way, if you need to go back to it, and also put your name in it so that I have your name on it for in the submission area. That's always helpful. And now we're ready to do it. Now, this doesn't require a ton of familiarity with Excel, but the purpose of Excel is to save time. So I'm going to show you some quick tricks in Excel to save you time, but you can always hand type in your numbers into these sheets as well if you don't feel comfortable using Excel formulas. So let's go ahead and start with 2-3A. You'll see here, this is a basic computing some earnings problem here. And in this one, we're computing their gross earnings. And Excel formulas, I'm going to click into this gray cell here, this very first one. Excel formulas always start with an equal sign. And you can either type in the name of the cell, so this is E10, or you can just click on it like I did there, and it highlighted it for me. And then I'm going to put the multiply sign, which is the little star asterisk thing. And then I'm going to click on this cell and equals E10 times G10, and then press enter, and here it is. So we've got it. Now in Excel, the nice thing is you can carry the formula down. You don't have to type in a formula in each one of them. And the way you do that is you move your cursor until it turns into a black little cross instead of the white cross, and then you left click and hold your left mouse button and pull it down to the fields that you want to copy that formula, and you'll see it went all the way down there into those formulas. Now we're going to type in a sum formula because this last box is for a sum of those items, and we do a sum. Again, you use your equal sign, and one way you can do it is you can do equals and then you can highlight each of the different cells and put a plus sign between them, and there you've got your sum. If you're a little more fancy, you can type equals sum, and then you have to do a parenthesis, and then you have to give it the range of cells. So it's I10 through, and then you have to do a colon, I14. So there's a couple of ways. Again, if you're unfamiliar, you can always type equals, and then you can say plus, plus, or you can hand type in your answer. The whole purpose of using this spreadsheet is because it checks your work for you. So see, if I type in this 481 in this field, if I typed in 480, there's a little asterisk here telling me that I'm wrong, and then it also makes my total wrong. So I get back to 481, we're back correct, and here we go. So that's why these formulas are handy to use in your Excel spreadsheet. So 2-4A, much the same thing, but it's a little harder problem. You're going to find your regular earnings, which is regular earnings are the 40 hours in a work week times your wage there. And then your overtime rate is 1.5 times your regular pay. So you take your regular pay of $12.45 times 1.5 to get your overtime rate. And then your overtime earnings is your number of hours times your number of overtime hours, which was 7. All right, so your gross earnings is then your regular earnings plus your overtime earnings. That's your total gross earnings. And so you'll see. So I'm going to leave the rest of them for you all to do, but you can kind of see how that worked out on that. All right, so let's go to 2-18A. With 2-18A, you will need your textbook to look at the problem because they don't give you enough information here. They expect that you're getting it out of the textbook. So please, again, let me know if you're using a different version of the textbook or anything so we can make sure that we're lining up the problems correctly with what you're working on. Okay, so let's look at this one. This one is piecework, and it says, during the first week in November, Aaron Mills worked 45.5 hours and produced 1,275 units under a piece rate system. The regular price is 45 cents a unit. Mills is paid overtime according to FLSA ruling for overtime work under a piece rate system. Okay, and so we need to compute these things. So piece rate earnings is going to be your number of pieces, which was given in the problem as 1275, times the regular piece rate, which is 45 cents a piece. That's how much your piece rate earnings are going to be. Now, the thing with piece rate earnings is hopefully you're earning more than minimum wage, but one reason we have to go through this is to make sure she's making minimum wage. So her regular hourly rate is going to be her her dollar amount we just computed times the number of hours she had to work to get to that, which was actually 45.5 hours. So her hourly rate she earned was $12.61 an hour, because it took her 45.5 hours to do that. Now her overtime rate is now the $12.61. That's her hourly times 1.5. Oh, sorry, times a half. And the reason it's not 1.5 like it was in our past one was because this was her full earnings for the 45.5 hours. Now we just need to find the little differential for the overtime portion, but we've already accounted for 45.5 hours here. We just need the halftime bump for the 5.5 that were overtime. So her overtime earnings is going to be the $6.31 times the 5.5 hours, because that's what she worked over 40 hours. And thus her total earnings, again, use your equal sign, is her regular piecework earnings plus, which is cell I9, plus her overtime earnings. So there you've got that piecework problem. So in future chapters, you'll find that these Excel sheets are very handy, and there will be a few more computations. So it'll be really nice if you can get used to using some of these shortcuts in Excel with the formulas. All right, so 2-20 also requires that you get that out of your textbook. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to that page. That one says, Wendy Epstein, a sales representative, earns an annual salary of $29,500 and receives a commission on that portion of her annual sales that exceeds $150,000. The commission is 8.5% on all sales up to $50,000 above the quota. Beyond that amount, she receives a commission of 10%. Her total sales for the past year were $295,000. So compute her regular annual salary. Okay. So her regular annual salary is $29,500. There we go. Commission on sales up to $50,000 above quota. Okay, so remember, she had sales of $295,000, and this is where the student work area might come in to be handy. So $295,000 was what she sold. Then her quota here was $150,000. So that's her quota. And then that means the amount she was above her quota is $295,000 minus her $150,000 quota. So she's $145,000 above the quota. But they're asking for the commission on sales up to $50,000 above the quota. So she's over $50,000 above the quota. So she has all $50,000 above her quota, and the amount of the $50,000 above the quota is at 8.5%. So that's 0.085 in decimal form. And so that's $42.50. Then they give her a commission on sales beyond $200,000. So remember, we've already taken the amount that was above the 150K quota, and so now we have 95,000 left. That's the amount above the 200,000 quota. So we have 95,000, again, use your equal sign, above that quota, and 95,000 times 10% for that part. And so her commission that she earned is the total of these two items. And then her total earnings is her regular salary plus her commission. So she made an okay salary this year, but definitely her commissions helped her out. And so these are the problems for this week. I probably won't be able to go through all of them in this much detail in future chapters, but I hope you found this to be helpful.